Welcome to Morrigan's Cottage, my journey to self-sufficiency, creating a homestead on 4 acres and renovating a 200-year-old cottage here in Ireland. Hi everyone, welcome back to Morrigan's Cottage, or welcome to Morrigan's Cottage if today is your first time finding us. As you can see, Morrigan's very happy and excited to have you here with us, aren't you? Yes. Today is November the 7th, 2025, in case you're watching this way in the future. I thought it was about time that I gave you an update on the grant, the dreaded grant. So for anyone newer to the channel, the vacant property grant is a grant here in Ireland where you can get between 50 and 70,000 euro back from the government to renovate an old home like this one. I have done a video before on kind of like the particulars of who can get the grant, what the grant covers. Morrigan's playing with her toy in the background. It's never a talky video if she's not playing with something, but I have a previous video that kind of covers like who can get the grant, what the grant is for, what gets covered, what gets paid, and all that sort of stuff. But now this video is going to be the opposite side, where the grant has now been completed, I've been paid, and I thought I'd give you an idea of that side of things. So you've done the work, and now it's time to get the grant back. So I thought I'd do a video on that because it has been pretty much 1 year to the day. It was Halloween when I originally got approved for the grant. So I thought it was time to give you guys an update on that. Now I know a lot of people don't like talky videos, and that's totally okay. If you don't want to watch a video that's just mostly me talking, that's fine. But what I will say is that this video will go into finances. It'll go into how much I paid for the house and the land, and it'll go into how much everything cost for the renovation itself. So if you're a bit nosy about money the way I am, or if you're just interested in how much these sort of things cost, it's the right video for you to stay for, even if you don't like talky videos. I will try to keep it as brief as possible, but you know me, I do like a little nitty-natty chat. So from when the engineer came to now, I suppose, November, December and January were kind of rough months when we started the grant process. So obviously November, what happened was the inspector came, and when he was here, he gave like verbal approval. So he was like, yeah, you're approved. I just have to get it in writing. That takes a couple of weeks, but you're approved. You can go ahead and start working on things. So for November and December, the first week, I'd say, of December, we were down here. You might remember I was learning to point, and I was scraping out all the old mortar and putting the new lime mortar in on the stone walls that we had. I was still pulling down plaster, old stud work. I was ripping up as many of the timber floors that I could, pretty much anything that I could do to make the house ready for the builders to come. That would in turn save me money so that I wasn't paying them to do something that maybe I could do. So November and the start of December were spent repointing and clearing out the house and just getting it ready for the builders. But then, obviously, unfortunately, in December, things started to go very downhill for us here at Morrigan's Cottage. So first of all, we had Storm Dara, and that knocked the power for 2 weeks. We had no power at the house for 11 days. So that meant not only could the builders not start here, but also the projects that they were working on were stalled because they had no power. Then Morrigan, my lovely baby Morrigan, got into a bit of an altercation with my cat Banya, and Banya accidentally, yes, we're talking about you and your eye surgery. You want to tell your story yourself? Banya accidentally, I think, scratched poor Morrigan's eyeball, and it was a very deep scratch. So she ended up having double eye surgery because one of her eyes had a little cherry eye, didn't it? And her other eye obviously had the claw put into it by Banya. Thanks, Bunny. And she needed like an eye graft and everything. Like, it was very serious. So she had her little surgery mid-December, and at the same time, my nan went into hospital. She was very unwell, so she went into hospital. And then, thankfully, Miss Morrigan recovered perfectly, my little baba. Oh my God, the tears I had over this little baby. But then, unfortunately, after Christmas, my nan died in early January. So it was just a really bad time. And then kind of to put the icing on the cake, we had Storm Owen, which I've mentioned many times because I just feel like it was this PTSD thing on top of the trauma I was already going through. Storm Owen hit. And it was like the worst storm ever recorded in Ireland. The roofs off my shed blew off, which still haven't been replaced. We lost power here for 15 days. I think they had no power, which meant no heating, no water, obviously no electrics. I thankfully was up in Dublin where we had power, but God help everyone that was still down here. But unfortunately what that meant was there was damage to other people's properties. So the builders had to go back and help fix other people's properties and finish up the projects that they were delayed on. So while we thought maybe the builders would start end of November, started December, then started January, it was actually late February when I finally got the call that the builders were coming. And that is by no means a fault of their own. And actually it worked out for the best. The later that they started, the more money I could save. But that is when things really kicked off for the grant. So I'm very lucky that I have a great team behind me for this project. I had Joe, who has been mentioned in many videos by many different people. He is an engineer and he kind of engineered everyone's projects. If you're watching a YouTube renovation, Joe has probably had a hand in it somewhere. But he was just fantastic and the brains behind this whole thing. Let's talk finances, the stuff that people really want to know, the stuff that I'm nosy about and I know probably other people are nosy about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through what everything cost. The grant is broken out into different sections, so I'm going to go through each section and let you know what we kind of originally thought it would cost, what I ended up paying, and hopefully for anyone that's watching this that's going to be doing a project similar, it'll give you an idea of maybe what things will cost. But bear in mind, it's been nearly a year since I got a lot of this done and prices have gone up. So don't be surprised if it's more expensive than this, but just this is what it cost me and maybe it'll give you a slight idea of what it will cost, because honestly, I had no idea before. It's very hard to get quotes from people. So hopefully this will give you a little bit of an idea of what you're looking at. So we'll start with the house. The house is a 115, is it square meters or square feet? I don't know. Meters? It's about 115 square meters, maybe. Don't quote me on that size, but there's 115 somewhere here. And it is obviously a cottage. It's a traditional bungalow that had an extension put on it in, I think, like the late 40s, early 50s. So the whole back of the house is an old extension that is pre-planning permission needed, thank God. But that's kind of the size of the house. It's technically a 3-bedroom with a living room, a kitchen, a bathroom, and a utility room as well. So just to give you like an idea of the size of the house. This house was listed for €120,000. And after some negotiating with the sellers, I bought it for €110,000. Thankfully, the house was mortgageable because I couldn't have done it without a mortgage. I know a lot of people take on these projects to be mortgage free, but that wasn't my situation at all. I think anyone who lives and has grown up in Ireland will know that it's almost impossible to buy a house here. So I needed a mortgage. Here you can get 90% covered by your mortgage. So the mortgage kicked in 99,000. I kicked in 11,000, and then the house was mine, the house on 4 acres. Do I think I got a bargain after we kind of found out all the problems with the house? Yes, I still think I got a bargain. If you look at the cost of, like, as an example, I was looking at houses that were shells, like absolute shells. They had no electrical, they had no plumbing, they had nothing. Which, as it turns out, everything that I had here was, you know, bad, but at least it had it. One house I looked at was like a shell of a house. It was 60,000. It ended up selling for 160,000. So I think getting this house for 110,000, considering how close to town I am, I'm very close to a big town. I'm then also very close to about 4 or 5 other big towns and train stations and everything you could need. I still think I got an absolute bargain on the house, especially because it has 4 acres. And I can't sing them enough praises. I sing the praises in every video that I talk about them, but I have the most amazing neighbours and the most amazing little community around here. Everyone is just wonderful. I don't think I've met nicer people in my entire life, or people more willing to like help or feed me. The neighbours often drop me off a nice dinner, which is infinitely better than what I would have been cooking. So definitely have no regrets on the cost of the house, what I've paid or anything like that. So that's how much the house cost, in case you're wondering. House prices have gone way up, and unless you're buying an absolute hovel, like a shell of a house, expect to pay over 100,000. If you want anything that's in any way livable, over 100,000, it doesn't matter where you are. So just to note, for anyone who's new to the vacant property grant and looking to do it, you have to front all the costs. So you have to pay everything up front and then you claim it back afterwards. So just to make that clear to everyone, because I think some people don't know that you have to actually pay for everything yourself first. So if you don't have 50,000 or 70,000 ready, you need to figure that out because you have a strict 13-month timeline and you need to pay for everything up front. So just to be aware of that, because I think some people aren't aware that you actually don't get the money back until the end. You have to front it all yourself. So now let's get into each section of the grant and what I spent. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say what like I originally had budgeted and then what I actually ended up spending. I'll give you the total cost of the project, and then hopefully that'll give you an idea of, if you're doing the project yourself, what it's going to cost, or just if you're nosy like me, what I ended up spending. Because I think I'm so nosy. I just love these things. I love knowing what things cost people. So we're going to get into that. I do have notes because I wanted to write it down so that I wasn't like saying the wrong prices and misleading people or anything like that. So I have notes here. So if you see me kind of look over, I'll try edit that out when I'm looking over. But if you see me looking over, that's all I'm doing. I'm just checking my notes. The first section of the grant, it's all in different sections, and each section the grant will pay different amounts towards things. Again, I put that in my other grant video, so just go check that out. But I'm just going to go through what I projected and what I spent. So the first section of the grant was the demolition, strip out, site clearance, everything like that. So I spent €2,500 in the section. Most of it was Desi's bill. It was them like, you know, stripping off the old roof, stripping off the internal fixtures that had to go, old radiators, flooring, anything that I didn't get the chance to demo that they had to demo. Originally, I kind of put down €1,000 for this to cover a couple skips, but obviously we ended up spending 2,500, which I don't think is a huge overspend, so that was fine. I wasn't too like bothered by that. The second section of the grant is substructure works. So originally I submitted nothing for this because I didn't think we'd be doing anything that fell under this category, but actually I ended up claiming back €3,000 for this. This included pouring of new cement floors or concrete floors. I don't know the difference between the two. To me, they're the same thing. I just use the word interchangeably, but I know there is a difference between concrete and cement, I think. So it includes pouring those new floors and damp proofing those. So that was never originally part of the plan for the house. Flooring wasn't going to get touched. But when we lifted all the timber floors up, there was a huge amount of water, and also they were like severely uneven. So in the living room, Desi said there was like 4-inch differences in some parts of the room. So they re-poured the bathroom, the snug, the main bedroom, and the living room. And that's what we got. Then they damp proofed it and everything like that. So that's what we got for the €3,000. Section 3 of the grant, that is the superstructure works. So a huge chunk of money of the budget went into superstructure. The superstructure works included like the line repointing that I did, and then like stud walls and things like that, plastering and all that stuff. So we spent a whopping €19,000 on superstructure works. About 300 of that was on the lime mortar that I used to repoint the walls. My part was really cheap and inexpensive. But the rest was what Desi and Francis did to inside the house. Some of this included the timber works for re-roofing the house. It included stud works for the walls. If you remember, when they took the roof off the house, they realized that the structure of the extension in the house was not strong enough on its own to take the weight of the new roof. So they did some structural stud work to help the block work take that weight and put less pressure on the blocks. And it also included like the plastering and the skimming. So they replastered the utility room, the living room, 1 or 2 walls in the kitchen, the ceiling in the spare bedroom. They did the ceiling in the bathroom. They did the ceiling in my bedroom. Then they did also all the walls in the snug, the bedroom and the bathroom. So they did a lot of like replastering, insulation and everything like that. So we spent a lot of money in this category, but it was all on things that absolutely had to be done. To be honest with you, originally I had budgeted €21,000 for this, so we came in under budget. So it was a lot of money, but it was under budget. I don't know how they managed to do that, but we're not complaining. So section 4 of the grant is sort of split into all these different subsections. So 4A was external completion, so that includes windows and doors. Originally, I had budgeted €21,000 for this because in my mind, I was like, I'd love to get all new windows and all new doors, which came to €21,000 quote. But we didn't do that in the end because obviously did not have the money. I don't know why I submitted it, but we didn't get that done. All we got was the new French doors in the back, and that was €2,400 for the supply and fit of the doors. So that's all we spent. So major underspend in this section, even though it was like never actually going to be submitted for. So internal completions is section 4B. So this is like replacing doors, like architrave, the surrounds of the doors and stuff like that. I had originally budgeted €1,600 for this. It came to €2,000. Not much of a difference there. I wouldn't be writing home to cry about it. Section 4C was skirting. I had submitted, I think, €2,000 for this originally in my budget, but we didn't do skirting. We haven't got to that point yet, so we obviously claimed back nothing for that. Section 4D is, let me just read this so I have it right. Fascias, soffits, and rainwater goods. We had a total spend of €3,800 for that, and that was pretty much on budget for the guttering system. There was no surprises there, so that was on track. So then section 5. So I am kind of reading this, I hope that's okay, because it's a lot, and I don't want to get it wrong. So section 5 is finishes. It's both internal and external finishes. So it is split into different categories, so I'll go through each category and what I spent. Section 5A, so that's tiling and waterproofing. So they will only cover tiles in your bathroom and waterproofing in your bathroom. You might be able to kind of sneak in the utility room or the kitchen because technically there's water there, but the main crux of this is for the bathroom, and they don't cover a whole lot of money towards it, so just to bear that in mind. But I originally budgeted €3,000 for this. I don't know where I got my numbers from. I was obviously looking up like the most expensive marble. We spent €500 on the tiles. Section 5B was painting, and they'll only give you up to €10,000 for painting decorating. I think I submitted, what did I submit for this? €3,000 I budgeted for this as well. And I came in at €200 because all the painting has been done post grant submission. I think I painted 1 or 2 of the rooms before, and that's what that money was. But we have been doing most of the painting after because we'd already hit the 50,000, and I was like, I'm just done. Section 5C is roof finishes. So we had originally budgeted €6,700 for this, but it came in under budget at €3,800. So section 6, this is the biggest section. This is the section people want to know the most. It's services, and it's where I put almost all of the money, and more than worth it to now have a house that's fully serviced. But I'll break it down into each section. So services obviously include electric works, plumbing works, heating works, all that sort of service stuff. Originally, we budgeted €23,000 for this, and we ended up spending €26,000, which is technically over budget, but the original kind of quote didn't include like the electric shower and the sockets and the light switches and all that sort of stuff. So when you add those in, we were pretty much on budget for what we were expecting. So to break it down, and again, sorry, I'm reading because there's so much, but the light switches and the sockets, so we got those really nice brush brassed ones, they cost €680. Then the electric shower cost €600. Now, you can get all of this way cheaper, but I picked things that I really liked, so they were obviously more expensive. But yeah, the electric shower by itself, €600, but you can get cheaper models that are like €120. Just I liked the black one with the rainfall function, so it was more expensive. The towel warmer in the bathroom was €150. The replumb of the bathroom cost €6,300, so that was like repiping all the bathroom, and it was actually repiping like the rest of the house as well. It wasn't just the bathroom, it was all the cold and hot water repiping because our pipes had to be removed. Installing the heating system, so this was the oil tank and the combi boiler that I have. I think it's a combi boiler. It's a fantastic system, it's great. That cost €7,700, and that includes 8 double high efficiency radiators. So I think that's a good price. I don't know. Then the full rewire of the house cost me €10,300. So that is pretty standard as well. I got 3 or 4 different quotes and they were all in and around that kind of cost. All in all, like I said, we submitted 26,000 for services, and I think to get a full replumb, full rewire and a heating system put in, like that in itself is a pretty decent cost. Then section 7. So 7 as well is split into different sections. So section 7A is kitchen units. I would have loved to have gotten a new kitchen. I think I submitted a quote for like 15,000, but obviously we didn't get the kitchen done, so that's phase 2. Section 7B is bathroom fittings. So for my tub, my sink, my toilet, my shower enclosure, my sink taps and my bath taps, I spent a total of €2,800. Originally, I budgeted for 2,500, so we were like that was pretty much on track. And then the last few sections of the grant is like 8, 9, and 10, I think. They are external site works, extension, and professional services associated with the works. And I didn't submit anything for those, because obviously we didn't do any outside work. We didn't do any like grounds work, I should say. We didn't put an extension on, and professional fees. I actually don't know what falls under that one. So we didn't submit anything in there anyway. So anyone who has been keeping track of all the amounts, you will already know we submitted, or we paid 6,000, or I wish it was 6,000. €66,000 is what the renovation cost. So obviously we had pre-budgeted for 52,000. It came to 66,000. We were €14,000 over budget, which is roughly 20-ish% of the cost. So we were over by about 20%. Anyone who knows renovations knows that that's very normal to be over, because obviously things come up. So obviously I only had €50,000, so I did have to borrow more money. Thankfully, my parents came in and saved the day, and I just want to preface it by saying that, like, my parents are not rich. We do not come from generational wealth, but thankfully, mom and dad somehow pulled together money that they could help me with and save the day, because I didn't know. I was like bawling, crying. I didn't know what I was going to do, because I knew all of this stuff had to get. So anywho, we're going to fast forward now to the end of May. Desi and Francis have left. I've got my final receipts. I collected all my documents for the grant and I submitted the grant. Our total submit was for €66,000. Submitted all the paperwork. You have to submit like a bunch of documents, so please do check with your county council what they want. I'm not going to say my county council just because I never say where I'm located. I'm just up in the northwest somewhere. But do check with your county council what they require. My county council had a long list of documents, but they were easy to get. So I submitted all of that. The county council thanked me for how organised all my paperwork was, so please do make sure you organise your paperwork well. If you do, they will be out to you quicker, because they just had to look. Everything was like coded. Everything was like, I had a contents page. Like, if you want to see the receipt for the bathroom, go to page 12. If you want to see the receipt for the sockets, go to page 64. Like, everything was very clearly laid out for them, so they just had a quick look, and then they came out after about 3 weeks. They did the second inspection. Again, this was like very quick. They didn't ask me any questions. They took a couple of photos. They looked around. We had a quick chat about how everything went. More so just like a friendly chat when he was taking the photos. He was like, oh, like, did you have a hard time getting a builder and stuff like that? But it wasn't like, what kind of insulation did you use? Now, maybe your inspector will do that, so be prepared. I was prepared with all my answers, but they didn't ask me anything. He just looked around. He was like, place looks great. And I was like, thank you. I put my whole heart into this. And then he verbally told me that everything is good. It gets sent up to a commissioner in Dublin who checks everything and then says yes or no. But he's like, it'll be a yes, so don't worry. Everything is like compliant. Everything's good. And he was like, 4 to 6 weeks, you'll get your money back. So off you went. And then at the end of July, I think it was, I think I was driving and I got a little ping on my phone and I pulled over and I was like, oh my God, there's €50,000 in my bank account. Best day of my life. No, the best day of my life was when I got you. Isn't that right? Yes, of course. It's when mommy got her baby. But second best day of my life was when I got €50,000 into my bank account. Now, unfortunately, that money is gone because obviously I had to pay my parents back their big loan of €16,000. I also owed my brother €9,000 because he lent me money way back when I bought the house, because obviously you have to pay your deposit and you have to like then pay solicitor fees, and inspections and all this stuff. So I needed €9,000 from my brother. So I gave €25,000 back immediately. I was rich and then I was poor again. And then I had earmarked €10,000 for the solar panels, which we got installed last month. So it brought us down to like €15,000. And I had been humming and hawing. Do I pay back half the loan that I took from the bank, or what do I do with it? So I did pay back a chunk on the bank, and I kept a very small amount as an emergency fund in case something happened to the car, such as ploughing into a ditch on my way to Dublin. So all in for this house, cost of the house, renovation, solar panels, and solicitor fees and all that stuff. I am out of pocket €190,000 is what the total spend is. Now we got €50,000 back, so we're kind of down to €140,000 for the full renovation, solar panels, and the cost of the house. And if you think about it, €140,000, like there was some houses I was bidding on, because this was the third house I bid on, it wasn't the first one. I was on a bid for €160,000 for a shell of a house, and I obviously got outbid. That sold for €180,000. And I was bidding on another house that was also it was probably like relatively similar to this house. And that I think I bid up to about €165,000, and that was like my cut. I couldn't go any higher than that. And I was outbid on that one. That ended up selling for I think about €200,000. And then there was another house that was listed for €60,000, and I was between this house and the other house. And this house just spoke to me straight away. I was like, yeah, this is my house. But the other house my parents and my family liked better. It was a very cute cottage, very traditional. It was absolutely gorgeous. But it was listed for 60 and it went to auction and it sold for 160. So I was like, actually, when you think about it, I got this house and the renovation done with full solar panels for 140,000 out of pocket. Now the bank paid for most of that. And I'll be paying the bank back for a long time. But when you think about it like that, €140,000, I've got this habitable house with a banging solar system, and all that really needs to be done to the house now is to paint and decorate, and I can do that as we go. So I think I got a good deal. I don't know, you'll have to leave a comment below. Do you think I got a good deal, or do you think I've been ripped for what I've got? I think I got a good deal. So that is the end of phase one. That's the end of our phase one journey of getting the house habitable. I have no regrets. If you're thinking about doing this, do it. It is hard. Just take heed. It's very hard. It's stressful. You will have absolutely no life outside of the house and the renovation for however long it takes you. Everything I had went into this house. Every spare penny I had, every free minute of time I had, any hobbies, anything I liked to do, going to the gym, everything got cut off because everything had to go into the house for the last 2 years. And now thankfully we're kind of on the other side where we can start doing like things that we enjoy again, and seeing friends and going out to eat, and like all the things that I had to put a full hold on, we're now doing again, which is great. But just prepare yourself for that. That's the only thing that I would say. I didn't realize how much of myself I was going to have to give to the house. I went into it very naive and not in like a mean way to myself, but I think you have like these beautiful dreams of what it's going to be like and how you're going to handle it and how things will go, and nothing goes to plan. It doesn't matter. You can plan it out every which way, but nothing will fully go to plan. So just prepare yourself for that. Sometimes now when I'm looking at like people at the beginning of their story, I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't do it. I'm like, there's a hole in the roof, the walls are crumbling, and like it's PTSD. You have a little bit of PTSD where you're like, I don't want to deal with that ever again. But speaking of that, in the same breath, I have notions that I would like to do this again. I would like to save up some money outside of my own house, and this is my forever home, I'm not moving, but I would love to buy a small stone cottage and renovate it myself in a very traditional way, like stone walls, fireplaces, traditional materials, traditional methods. So I do keep my eye out for properties that are near here and reasonably inexpensive, that I could just take on and then over 20 years redo. And I wish you the best of luck, and you'll have to message me if you have any questions. But hopefully just knowing some of the costs of things helps. And I suppose for me, when I used to read about people who had got their grant money back, it was a real like, oh, it's real. People are going to get their money back and like things will be okay. And I just have to keep pushing on. So hopefully seeing that I got my money back quite quickly and quite easily will be a bit of a motivation to someone else who is on the journey too. So that's kind of the point of this video, is to let you guys know how much I spent and how much in debt I am, but also to give a little bit of hope to others who are in a similar situation and hoping to get their money back. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and like from speaking to my county council, they want to give people the money. Like they're looking to give everything back. They're under huge amounts of pressure to get people paid because the government want to be like, look how many people we gave money to. Like the government want to show good, like that this grant is working. So just push on and get there and make it as easy as possible for your vacant grant officer. If you're still here at this point, thank you for watching me talk for a really long time. It was just a video I felt like I have been meaning to film for a while and just haven't had the chance. So I was like, I'll just sit and I'll do it now. If you have any questions, do make sure to leave a comment below and ask them. If you're in a similar position and you need any advice, I mean, I don't really have a lot of advice, but I can share with you what I know and what I think. You must let me know in the comments. Do you think I got a good deal? A fully renovated house, phase 1, solar, and the cost of the house for like out-of-pocket expense 140 that the bank mostly has paid for, that I will have to pay back. You must let me know in the comments, was it more expensive or cheaper than you thought? Yeah, just let me know what you think. But thank you for watching all the way through. If you wanted to like and hype and comment, that is always very appreciated. For this particular video, because I would hope it would reach people who are in the same situation. So the more a video gets liked and hyped and commented on, the more YouTube will push it to people who are interested in the same stuff. So if you want to do that, that is always, it'll help more people see it that are looking to find this kind of thing. Otherwise you just get lost in the millions of videos that are uploaded every day. But yes, thank you for watching. I have all the babies here beside me sleeping, so I'm going to stop yapping now. I actually have to go up to Dublin. So we're going to get dressed, we're going to get showered and then dressed, and then off we go up to Dublin for the night. Just me and Morrigan, the cats will stay here. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you. I don't think I can say thanks enough for everyone who has become part of this little community that we have. And I think reflecting on how things have gone on YouTube, like I didn't think more than 10 people would watch, and I thought those 10 people would be my family. Although none of my family watch except for my mom. I think my aunt, and that's about it. But thank you for your ongoing support as we move from phase 1 of this journey into phase 2. And just know that your support is ever appreciated and ever important, and could not thank you more for being here with me. So I will talk to you guys in the next video. I will keep the talking in the next video to a minimum. I have some exciting videos coming up. I think the bathroom, an ongoing project that I've been working on for 3 months, but the bathroom is getting ready to be uploaded. We're painting the living room at the moment. There's just lots of stuff ongoing, so I'm excited to share this part of the journey with you guys. But as always, I will talk to you next time, and take care, and thank you for being here. Bye.